Hello, so this is my 4-minute presentation on an Old Testament passage. And the Old Testament passage that I chose is Jeremiah chapter 1. More specifically, like looking into the verses at the beginning of the chapter, Jeremiah and God's dialogue. The summary of that passage is Jeremiah and God are having a dialogue. God is showing Jeremiah his calling, and Jeremiah's response to that is like, Lord, I can't do this, I'm too young. And the Lord responds to him saying, like, I formed you, I knew you before I formed you in your mother's womb. And for the second question, where it says state a theological principle that is clearly derived from this passage, what I take from that passage is that your self-perceived limitations are not the Lord's limitations. And so often we forget that. We kind of limit ourselves. We put, like, the world will limit ourselves, and we start to believe what the world says about us more than what God says about us. Explain the connection between this passage / theological principle and some aspect of your own spiritual journey and envisioned future. I was called to ministry when I was 14. Like, without a doubt, people are, like, to the point where, like, it was being confirmed by other people, and especially, like, me growing up, and basically my entire high school like career, I was living for God. I started living for God when I was 14, and a few weeks after that, I found God showed me that I had a calling for ministry. I had a love for it. It's something that I really enjoyed doing, and it's something that I wanted to do in my future. And people were confirming it, so that's how I knew it. Now, obviously, like I said, I was 14 at the time, and even when I was 15, 16, I struggled with the idea, like, hey, I'm too young for this. Something would be put on my heart, and I just felt like such a urge to share it. So I made a platform on TikTok where I would preach whenever I had something on my heart. So that really helped me. And that really showed me that, like, hey, even though I was young, God still allowed me to have a platform to preach to people. And people at my school would follow that. And obviously there was some people that didn't like it, but there was more people that really enjoyed it. And God just really showed me, like, hey, like, Jonathan, like, you know, like, I called you to this at this young age, and don't suppress the gifts that I've given you just because you don't have the same platform that a youth pastor does or a head pastor does. And envision future. I'm still young. I'm only 18 years old, and that's why I chose the backdrop of my dorm room, because, like, hey, I'm a college student. A lot of people kind of just, like, I don't know. I don't overlook the fact that I'm a college student. I'm still a young person trying to learn. I'm here at Johnson to learn, and remembering that you're somebody that's young, like, that doesn't mean that you have less of a calling from the Lord, but that doesn't mean get cocky and think that you know everything. Realize that that you're going to learn from people that have more experience than you, and that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here at Johnson, to learn from people that have more experience than me. And the teachers here, they really care about my future. They care about my future. We have, like, the same envisioned future. Maybe not the specifics in my life, but we have the same envisioned future in the sense of we both want to make more disciples. We both want to use the gift that the Lord has given us to pursue ministry in whatever form that may be. Question 4 says, illustrate these connections to some specific setting or backdrop. Yeah, that's what I just did that. And yeah, I think that's probably the most beneficial. No, I wouldn't say beneficial. That's probably the passage I go to whenever I feel doubtful about myself, and I start to feel discouraged, just remembering that, hey, my self-perceived limitations are not the Lord's limitations. Because there's times where even in the church I get discouraged because I'm young. There's times outside the church I get discouraged because I'm young. Just allowing this passage in Jeremiah chapter 1, that dialogue between Jeremiah and the Lord, it really just helps sustain me and encourage me to keep on going and learn more. So yeah, thank you.